Welcome to the famous Aftermath show with Jamie. Obviously, Jamie is not here today or the next 3 weeks. He's back at work in the bar. So hopefully you can deal with me or whoever does the hosting for this show going forward for the next 4 weeks. But I appreciate everyone coming in. Get your comments in, get your views in, please, because at the moment it's a very, very tough time at Leicester City. I've just been watching some of the videos from yesterday and reactions to it, and to be honest, I was about crying when I saw Madison's reaction to it. Obviously, we all know that he was one big reason why we did lose the game yesterday. We obviously can't just blame him because of the amount of just poor performances from every player yesterday, but they're going to move on. Joseph, welcome, mate. Matthew Bond, welcome. Spiners players, James, welcome. Phil, really flat performance. Yes, it was. There was nothing there that would kind of see yourself getting out of this situation at the moment, will it? Dean, morning. Looking forward to the Championship football next season. If we get there, we get there. If we don't, we don't. I was saying yesterday that if we already look like we are going down and we somehow do stay up, I guess it's a positive. I guess it's the only way you can look at it as a positive. If you do think you're already down and you do somehow stay up, then yay. But you can even see in my face that I was a positive person going into the last 10 games, and now I'm slowly getting drained because these performances are just getting worse and worse. Even without Rodgers, it's just getting worse. Zach, welcome, mate. Everyone, get your views in, get your comments in. I will put the link in the chat if anybody does want to join. But we will bring the main man Tom in. I think he was there yesterday. But let's get his views and comments in because you can see how drained I am. Let's get him in. Tom.
Morning, mate. You're right.
I think. Well, I guess I can't be any worse. But go on, then, mate. Give us your views and comments on the game yesterday because it just wasn't there, was it?
Well, as I said post-match, for me, and being in the ground and everything, the club asked for the fans to turn up in numbers. They did. The club asked for the fans to back the lads from the start. They did. They got the raucous atmosphere. They got the whole team, coming out the tunnel. You got the tifo. You got the crowd was buzzing. There was a good atmosphere, and there was we're going to push you, lads. We're going to drive you. We'll do our best we can. And for the first 5 to 10 minutes, I don't think neither side looked that good. I think they're both very nervous and both teams were giving the ball away for fun. Then Bournemouth settled and it just looked like one team knew what they were doing after having 5-10 minutes of like unsure what we're doing. And the other team was Leicester. And sadly, look, I'm not going to sit here and I've seen a lot of people saying style out. They're not managers. They're coaches. There's a massive difference between a manager and a coach, or a coach who manages the team. These are generally lads who do patterns of play and put to people, teaching and techniques and stuff. They're not managers who are trying to outwit each other on a Saturday afternoon. They've kept it very much in line with Brendan Rodgers, what he'd been doing, and it wasn't working. And sadly, that the team just did not click at all yesterday. And it doesn't help when you got people coming out and saying, "Oh, we gave Suter a rest because he's had a lot on."
Oh yeah,
Mate, you were on as
you
soon as
can't
that
be
team
saying
came
that.
out. Obviously, I'd seen the team on the Friday night. I got sent it, and I literally was just like, "What is going on?"
That doesn't help either. The team getting leaked the night before.
I didn't leak it the night before. I got given it, but I didn't put it out there till late in the afternoon. Once the team, basically once 4 or 5 people had tweeted it, but I'd seen the team on the Friday night. Again, I'm one of these. One, should it make that much of a difference as the team announced the night before? And people say, well, the opposition get given a chance to see what they're doing. Right, if you look at rugby have to announce their team 24 hours before kickoff. They just do. Tigers always announce their team on a Friday afternoon. Does it make any difference to who they're playing? No, it doesn't. It shouldn't make any difference to who we're playing at the moment. I don't get that whole thing that the team's not been, it's been leaked. I'm sorry, if you're that good a team, it shouldn't matter if the opposition know who's playing or not. At the moment in time that we're that weak, we're that bold about a team being leaked. Nah, there's this problem at the moment. everyone's trying to find excuses. Everyone's trying to find a reason for why things aren't working. The Seven just admitted that we're not good enough, and we haven't been good enough for the past 18 months as a team and as a club. Not There's no point just sitting here and blaming Brendan Rodgers. This has
Mm.
to go beyond that. This has to go towards the board. This has to go towards the recruitment team. I saw someone tweet yesterday, and I was quite gobsmacked that he said 90% of this is down to the Leicester fans who have stuck their head into the ground after that Forest defeat in the FA Cup, and now this is your fault. Basically, you're blaming your own fans for Leicester getting relegated this season. I mean, for the person, if you're watching this, who tweeted that, you need to give your head a wobble. You can't blame
Yeah.
the fans for getting relegated. The players on the pitch are the ones that have caused this issue. The manager at the beginning of the season had no faith in the players. The manager at the beginning of the season after the Arsenal defeat, who just put his hands in his pocket and shrugged his shoulders. But this is going to the board as well. The board didn't have the audacity to sack Rodgers after a 6-2 hiding at Tottenham. That should have been a wake-up call. Not then. Then after the Forest defeat, the wake-up call should have been. It would have given us
Mm.
plenty of time to sack Rodgers after the Palace defeat. It left us with no hope. And sadly, as you say, mate, now I think if you looked at Maddison's interview yesterday, he looks like a player who's given up. The team look like they've given up. And so Maddison said, "Oh, we'll wipe yourself down and go again." You've been saying that week in, week out for the last 4 or 5
Mm.
weeks. Ironically, Maddison then has deleted his Twitter, what makes it even
I've
worse.
seen that.
After
Yeah.
after coming out and slating a press officer for doing his job, having a go at him and saying, "Oh, well, the performances are there." Madders, you made yourself look foolish, mate, because the performances haven't been there. And yesterday topped it off with another poor performance.
Yeah, we all, like I say, we all know what he did to give the goal away. But we'll start from the beginning of the game. Obviously, for me, it felt like Bournemouth were just there and they've come in confident. They didn't even get scared at all. They just played their game, and as much as they didn't get any good, like brilliant attacks on, they were the one always on in the possession. We didn't really get a shot in. I think Vardy had 13 touches all game. Just again, I know a reason why I say I don't play him unless you play two up top. It just doesn't work. Two players come on at like the 60th minute, Daka and Iheanacho. I thought then they started playing a lot better for the 15 minutes after that. Sumari for me actually started doing a bit better when them two came on, but again, so many issues, so many decisions gone wrong. But the team sheet, like you say, it comes out before the game and you're already kind of nervous as it was. What do you kind of take to how we did play yesterday? Was there any positives at all, or was it just all negative?
I can't look at that game in any positive, mate. We didn't create a chance to the 59 minute. Bournemouth got the tactics spot on. Sam Bennings ran the show in the middle of the park for them for fun. They dropped a defensive midfielder onto Maddison and said follow him around the whole game, barely giving him a kick. And when he did get a kick, he was trying to make things happen, but there was nothing in front of him. I can't sit here and sugarcoat anything, mate. I just
No, I know
really
what you
can't.
mean.
Like
I
it's
used to do this. That's the thing because I had
it's
to do something, but even I'm
time
getting
has come.
deflated now.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those, mate. We could sit here and try and find a positive. The Red Leicester sausage rolls are the best probably in the country.
Mm,
That's about the only positive. But there you go. Someone just mentioned it. I was about to say the only positive was Daniel Leveson.
yeah.
Daniel Leveson is the only one who comes out the last two games with any credit. And for me, we're going down. And at
Mm,
least we know one thing: we've got a very good number one goalkeeper in the championship. Daniel
yeah.
Leveson proved that at Preston North End when he was in it. He was their player of the season. So we're going to go down. At least we've got a goalkeeper who knows that league. And that's the only positive come out of yesterday because the whole the way we played, it was literally like watching Brendan Rodgers' team. It was
Mm,
slow, it was passive, it was get the ball. Oh, it's not going that way. We'll go backwards. We'll go sideways. We'll go backwards. And then, as you mentioned earlier, we're hoofing the ball forward to a 36-year-old Jamie Vardy. Now, Jamie Vardy's taken a lot of slating this season for unfairly, in my view. Yes, it hasn't happened. He's had a few chances, not denying that. The Chelsea away, he probably could have scored a hat trick. It didn't
yeah.
happen. Bar that, he hasn't actually had that much game time. And when we have played him, you played him with long balls in the air against four centre backs on a lone striker to do something with. At
Mm,
36, he isn't going to flick the ball on himself and run after it anymore. That days of Jamie Vardy doing that kind of stuff is gone. For me, the game changed a little bit when we brought on Daka and Iheanacho. There was a bit more intent then, but it should never have been left to go that long. But our biggest concern, once again, though, we're losing a game and we're still bringing everyone back for corners. We should be pushing everyone up.
Yeah.
For me, I said it yesterday, Vardy, Ricardo, all the short, smaller lads, don't muck around with the box. Just drag them away, because they'd be more scared if you went Ricardo, Barnes, Vardy on the halfway line. Bournemouth wouldn't have pushed all their men forward then. They would have gone, right, we're going to have to sit back here, boys, and try and protect this 1-0 lead, because that's all they did. That's all they wanted to do, was protect that 1-0 lead and break on us. It's basically the same story every single week for the last 5 weeks, mate. And that's the thing about it. We need a manager in. We need it quick. It ain't really, for me, going to save the season now, because I can't see where the passion and the fight was yesterday. If we'd come out and shown passion and fight and commitment, we wouldn't be sitting here citing the team today. But that performance wasn't in below par. That was,
Oh no, that was probably one of our
was
worst performances this season. Again. You go in. Even Phil said that here. Let me find his message. He said he thought we would turn up, but simply didn't. Sideways and backwards passing. For me, we go into the game yesterday, and it was Bournemouth. Bournemouth at home. If you can't beat Bournemouth at home, as much as Bournemouth aren't the worst team in the world, you've got to be going to the Premier League at home in your home crowd and get a performance. And we just didn't do anything. And he just topped it off with an error from our captain to do it, which is just hard to see. We will move over to the main topic, I guess, what people are talking about. Jesse Marsch. All but confirmed at the moment. What do you take on this? The only thing I can see is the fact that hopefully he comes in, somehow gives a bit of a spark to get a few wins under the belt, and just as long as we get 2 or 3 wins, maybe that will just be enough to keep us up, I guess.
I'm just going to put this comment on, mate. If we get a full-time manager now and we go down, do they stay or will we sack them?
I don't think Jesse Marsch will stay in the Championship. I don't think.
I personally think he will do. I think if he knows he's coming in and signing a 3.5 year deal, he's coming in for the long term. He knows there's a big risk Leicester are going down. He's not going to come in and thinking, well, if they go down, I'm just going to walk away from it, because that will tarnish his reputation as a manager for not being committed when things get tough. At the end of the day, if you'll come to a football club like Leicester now, and this is why we find it very hard to find a manager, because there's not many managers who want to come into a club who are going to get, let's put it 80%. Getting 80% chance now are going to get relegated to the Championship. There's not many managers who want to come in. So if he's coming in for the long term. When they talk about a 3.5 year deal, then he's here for the long haul, and he's here to start rebuilding this club going forward. What's a massive job? It's a massive job, but you've got to try. And in my view, I think if we go back to the Dave Bassett, Mickey Adams season, when we got relegated at Filbert Street, Mickey came in after we'd gone down, and he had 4 or 5 games, and we won 3 of them. And we went into the Championship with a little bit of confidence. For me now, it's all about Marsch building some confidence back into this group of players, because we saw the Maddison interview after the game. He looks dejected. He looks like a player that's given up. Like, all the players are literally on their last legs now. And trying to rebuild those confidence is going to be very, very difficult between now and the end of the season, and trying to get a tune out of them, especially in a different style of play to what we're going to be used to. Because, Marsch is not about keeping the ball all the time, passing around. He's very much about getting the ball forward as quick as you can, using the wide men, getting the ball in the middle of the field, and then going forward, not backwards. It's going to be a totally different culture shock to these players to what they've been playing. So for me, it's all about whoever comes in, building this confidence and getting the team going forward a little bit. Look into next season now. Looking what you've got. Look into the players that are going to be here in the Championship more than likely. Because I'm not going to have sugarcoat it in the Premier League, but more likely in the Championship, and see how you can create another team bond, because that band of brothers has gone. That ship has sailed.
Yeah.
There's no band of brothers in that dressing room anymore.
No, there's no confidence there. There's nothing that any player can kind of say that we've got any kind of confidence, or I don't know. It's just hard. And again, you see the game yesterday. I think Phil put a video out after the game of all the fans around the ground, and it was just very dull and very kind of toxic, I guess. And it's allowed to be. Obviously, even Matt has said we're allowed our opinion and whatnot. I'm not going to boo, but I completely see why now. We've got 8 games left to save our season. And for me, sacking Rodgers with 10 games to go was just too late without bringing someone straight in. And now it's got to the point where I feel like was it even any point in sacking him with 10 games to go? Because I feel like we've lost two of the biggest games just gone, or maybe even three of them to games we probably could have won if we brought someone else in.
My point of view, what worries me is as a club and as a board, we didn't have the backup plan ready. You know, when I look at Graham Potter and I listen to I love my football and no one knows I listen to what's going on in the football world quite a bit. And you listen to the Tony Bloom, the Brighton chairman, and he's always already like his interview back when Potter was gone. He said we knew who we wanted. We had three targets. We had a list of players. We had three targets that we knew if Graham left or went or sacked, that we had three targets already waiting to go. And his first word were, well, what about next managers? We're already looking into the next manager. We're already looking at who could take over the current Brighton manager position in case he suddenly leaves. So Brighton sounds like they're already doing homework.
Yeah.
To me, the board didn't seem ready for this sacking. What's worrying, considering how poor we've been this season, the board haven't got their eggs in order and the house in order, that what they're going to do if they sack Rodgers. And we've now just lost two of the most crucial games of the season. Probably not the Villa game as much, but if we'd got a point out of it, then it would have been massive different going into the Bournemouth game at the weekend if we got a point against Villa. But not to have someone ready to go and in line, I think it's madness that you sacked Rodgers without having the plan ready, the manager in place. You look when we sacked Pure, Rodgers was in the building within 24 hours. It was done deal.
Yeah.
That was it. We had him here. And to not having a manager ready and seeing that we're discussing things, and it's taken us a week now since Brendan left to get another manager in the door. That's the more concerning part.
It was the factors again. We were saying it like 12 games to go when we had that whole list of ones where we said we could probably win or get points out of, and now we're down to 8 games and we've still got no situation going on. Obviously, it looks like Marsch is coming in. So I'm hoping that something has to happen with him coming in, and hopefully he can get some points from them games that we've still got left in the Wolves, Everton, and Leeds. There's still 9 points there to take, but they're always going to be hard, and we know they are. But I just hope that Marsch does come in and changes something to actually get us up on the winning side instead of a losing side again.
I think the point though, mate, is you listen to Pipes is talking after the radio. He's spot on with what he was saying. It's all right coming in and trying to change it and get the players going, but to pick them up off the canvas when their confidence is that low is going to be so difficult. You're not coming into a football club where you've lost a couple of games. You've just lost 5 on the bounce. You've just lost 2 at home to Villa and Bournemouth. Thought the players probably thought they got something to come into. Well, you say it's not in 8 games, mate. It's 7 games to save the season. If you take out the Newcastle game, if you take out the Newcastle game and the Liverpool game, you're suddenly down to 5 games. Yeah, as well. You take them out, it's suddenly gone from 8 to 5 games. You could go and win. We've only won 7 games
7 all season.
And you're going to try and win 5 of them. You've got to look at Wolves now.
I will say I don't think 5 wins will do it. I think it'll be less because I don't think every other team's going to be the greatest. But again, that is down to us hoping that other teams do lose. But again, it doesn't really help when Marsch comes in and we've got Man City coming up next, is it? So.
But that's damage limitations for me. That is, for me, that's where if he comes in, he has a week to play, a week with the squad, a week to try and build some kind of foundations of how he's going to set the team up going forward. Try and go Man City and by all miracle get a point would be amazing, but try and not get absolutely battered like Southampton did yesterday. Show some kind of encouragement to the fans going into the Wolves game. That would be a right stepping stone in my view, that if you can go to Man City and lose maybe 1-2-0 maximum. And this is how bad it is. We're talking about losing to Man City. We're not talking about going winning there like we did 5-2.
Oh, yeah.
We're not talking about going, when we're 4-0 down and going 4-3 and losing 6-2. We're talking about their damage limitations because at the moment our goal difference is the only thing that could save us on the final day of the season. That's how bad it's got that you go into Man City and hoping you don't get tanked. But if you could go there and show some kind of improvement, it would give the fans a lift going into that Wolves game, because that Wolves game now is now, for me, the biggest game of the season. Yesterday was bigger, but now the Wolves game is becoming bigger, because if you were to lose the next 2, I think that would be good night, Vienna, because I generally don't see us then going to Ellen Road and getting something. I don't see us at home to Liverpool getting anything. You would say Everton at home. Another game, I watched them yesterday. They played some decent stuff yesterday against Manchester United and feel very unlucky not to come away. They had the chances in the game. We at the moment don't look like creating chances, and that's the biggest problem. You can have all the ball in the world, and you can have all the, you know, passing around and doing everything with the ball, but we're not creating chances to score goals. And for me, he's got to go to top to change his season and play someone with Vardy. If you're going to give Vardy a run of games to get some kind of form back, what's going to be difficult now, you've got to play someone with him. Like, I didn't get this selection on Tuesday. Dak has just come back after an international break, scoring goals for his country, and he's put on the bench.
I
The kid would have been flying for that game.
I do get the reason of Vardy going back in. I mean, we all said it was basically the situation of we're trying to go back to basics, and he was our main guy a few years ago, and obviously it's not happened this season. But again, for me, Daka and Iheanacho goes up to top against Bournemouth yesterday, and it already kind of made a bit of an impact, I guess. And now going forward, I think that's the only way to do it, because I just don't see, like someone like Tete. He came in yesterday and he was playing more like a right back. But again, going forward, then obviously, if Marsch was to come in, is there any kind of changes into the team you would be bringing in? Obviously, Chu is one name that everyone's saying he'd become straight back into the side. Pratt, does he get in? Does Dewsbury get back in after he's obviously now his suspension's over? What is your kind of take on the team and who does come back into this side? Because at the moment, like I say, yesterday the team was very, very weird.
It was a very strange team. I mean, like I say, when I saw it on Friday night, I was picking my brains and trying to think what we're doing. You know, Paul Mendy has been playing well, can't get near the team in the last couple of games. And for me, it's what you've been missing, because he wins the ball and he passes it 5 yards. You know, he doesn't try to go spectacular. He just does the basics really well. KDH, does he come back in? There's talk that Tillemans might be fit by next weekend. It could be a big lift to his football club going into the final 8 game of the season. The biggest concern will be if Barnes is fit now. If Barnes has done his hamstring, that could be good night Vienna for him and his season's over.
But then again, I will say, why you say that, sorry, that might be a better thing for us going into the front two. Obviously, I know it's not nice. It's not nice to hear someone's injured, but it'd help us out because, again,
it forces the hand to change the shape. It forces the hand that we're not just going to stick with wingers, because we haven't got the wingers. You know, I felt sorry for Ricardo yesterday because he's not a winger. You know, we cried him out before, but you could tell it just wasn't working on that right-hand side between Ricardo and Cassagna. We didn't look threatening. The only side we looked threatening once again was Barnes, but then you're putting all the pressure on Barnes to create so he can score goals. And once we do that, you can see the weight on his shoulders. He crumbles every time. I think that if Tillemans fit, he comes back into the team. I think if KDH is fit, he comes back into the team. Heaven behold, Maddison's the one at the moment you have to question, because the last 5 games he hasn't really done anything. And since Rodgers got sacked, he does look sad. He looks literally like the gaffer's gone. What hope have we got now? You know, he doesn't look like a captain to me. That, well, the gaffer's gone. We've all got to pull the sleeves out here, boys, and try and prove that we are going to stay in the league, because the performance against Villa and the performance against Bournemouth yesterday, Maddison was looked lost. He looked like a player just going through the motions to get the season done and dusted. So it'd be an interesting one to see how he does with the new manager coming in, if they could pick him up enough. But yeah, I'd say Tillemans, KDH definitely come back into it. I think obviously Christian and Faz, they played well enough to keep the places yesterday with Daniel Everson. Cassagna, I don't think of a bad game. Amati just worries the hell out of you every single time. So shoots for me, it's Suter or Cags comes into the back line. But considering Cags hasn't played since Manchester City at home. Oh, sorry,
but he might play against Man City. He might play against Man City next week.
Well, he came on against Villa, didn't he, for the last 10 minutes, I think, if I remember rightly. And again, he didn't put a foot wrong there. So, look, I don't know what Cags has done to annoy someone in the club or to annoy Rodgers, or he's done something to obviously do it. But whoever comes in has got a massive job to try and lift the confidence, mate. And that's the biggest thing now. It isn't about wins for me. It's trying to turn this sinking ship round a little bit and try and get a little bit of belief back into the club as a whole, not just the players, a whole. You've got to win the whole club round now, whoever comes in. And I've said it from the start. Someone said, "Yo, you question it." I questioned the length of the contract. If that's the length of the contract we're giving a manager after what's just happened with Rodgers. Now, don't get me wrong, I can't see Marsch being on the money that Rodgers is on. But to give a contract to a manager with the potential that we could get relegated, who's never been managed in the Championship, it does question that that's a massive contract that he goes wrong with, they've got to pay it again. So, look, I will give Marsch every opportunity to prove me wrong. If it's Marsch who's get the job, we could be all be fooled and bring someone else
Yeah.
in. But by the sounds of it, it probably is going to be Jesse Marsch till the for a 3.5 year deal. Then I will back him, and I'll back any manager that comes into this football club, because it doesn't matter what they've done at Leeds. It doesn't matter what they've done at other clubs. It's what they do at Leicester. And if they come in and turn it around, and he does well, even if we go down, you give him the chance in the Championship to start progressing. But I will say now, if we go down, the fans have got to be realistic. We aren't going to be flying straight back up again easily, because the amount of players that are leaving and the amount of players on 1 year deals to remain who might not want to sign for another year, the club are going to have to cash in a lot of their assets if they're going to go down.
Yeah, I totally agree. Obviously, I did say that I wasn't the biggest fan of Marsch. I'm not going to deny it. I wasn't, but I did say to Phil in the car yesterday that I would have, as long as he keeps us up, I'd let him stay. Again, obviously, he's going to be on a 3 year contract if he does join. So there's no way he's going to go. But I would have just let somebody come in, and if they'd done well and kept us up, then fair play to him. You can have another season with us and see what you can do. But there's so many comments here just saying that it's just hard at the moment. But obviously, we've got 8 games to go now. Well, like you say, it could be even 5, because we're not going to get the points from some games because it's just too hard to get points from. But I think that's where we're going to end it, Tom. Obviously, it wasn't the most positive show. We know it wasn't, but appreciate everyone coming and getting your views in. Will we stay up, Tom? Do you think it's possible, or do you think it is game over? I said it was game over after the Bournemouth game, so.
I look back through the videos. I said after the Southampton defeated King Power in what was that, August, September. I said after that video we were in a relegation battle. Proven right in some ways. Taken a long time to get there. I said before the Bournemouth game, though, if we lose, that'd be it. And I generally haven't changed my mind. If we'd come out fighting and lost, my mind might have been different. But to see that performance yesterday, and to see no hunger, no fight desire or passion, I just seen a few players going through the motion. Obviously, join Phil Monday night show 7:30 to carry on the debate. What probably could be an interesting one, and obviously, I suppose, Jamie, if Jesse Miles is announced today, then we might go live later and get some fan opinion.
Well, if somebody does come live, we'll definitely. Well, not definitely does come live. If someone does join Leicester Fan as a manager, then we will definitely be joining the lives to get them people on.
Let's leave on this note, mate. All I'll say is we've had 10 great years in the Premier League, and sadly the dream is now becoming a nightmare. And I don't think any Leicester fan at the start of the season saw us with that squad of players being 30 games in, is it now? 30 games gone, being second bottom of the league on 25 points. I don't think anyone would have thought that at the beginning of the season. I think if you ask any football fan in the country, they wouldn't have had Leicester second bottom of the league. But we are where we are, and the table doesn't lie. The performances from the players, performances from the board, and the performance from the manager all has to be questions at the end of the season. And I'm sure the board and the club will review that. But as fans, this is Leicester City. This is a roller coaster ride, and really won't remember the hard days. And I always say that, but then I also look at Jamie and Phil will say they've seen even worse days under David Pleat and some poor managers. This is called Leicester Fan, and you're in for the long haul if you join this football club, because it's never a smooth ride, and it'll never be an easy ride. And if we go down, then we have to do one thing and then back the team and back the club to try and get back to the Premier League if that's what happened. But I just think some fans have got to be realistic that the club has made some mistakes over the last 18 months to get us in a position, and some signings have worked out and some haven't. And I think now is the time that the fans have got to come together and try and build for next season. In my view, now the time for this season is done. It's next season. We'll still be here. We'll all still be supporting the club. Cold winning out on Stoke.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
Plymouth Argyle on a Tuesday night reader, away from and down there. It's just being part of a Leicester fan for me. I just think sometimes we've had such a great last 10 years of being in the Premier League, from highs of the Great Escape to highs of winning it, to suddenly it's like doom and gloom and a bit back to reality check that things haven't worked out. But hey, someone just put the M69 derby, no VAR. I mean, I'm looking forward to that more than anything. We go down, no VAR next season.
Probably score a lot more goals.
Coventry away. It isn't over till the fat lady sings. And I still know that Matt has said yesterday the points are still there for taking. I'd love the club to turn it around and stay in the Premier League. But at a moment in time, I just feel that I don't see where the next win coming from.
Well, all I'll say is we've done it once, we'll do it again. Hopefully we'll do it again. The Great Escape and winning the league next year, mate. That's what we can hope.
Oh.
But hey ho, that is it for today's show,
Cheers,
guys.
mate.
Thank you all for coming. Tom, appreciate it, mate. And
No problem, mate.
We may be getting you on an away fan this week, or
I don't know, mate. I've said my piece yesterday in the chat about that, and I'm sticking by it.
no worries. Right, see you in a bit, mate. Cheers.
See you, mate. Bye.
Thank you everyone for their comments and views today. Obviously, again, check Phil's show out for the next for tomorrow. Obviously, let the debate continue, I guess. Obviously, make sure to check all of our socials out on all socials. I guess I'm kind of blathering on now because I am drained as hell. So please appreciate you all coming on, guys, and we'll catch you all on the next show. Appreciate it, guys. See you in a bit.
Thanks for watching Leicester Fan TV. Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, Hope Against Cancer, and Newby Co estate agents. Make sure to follow us on all of our social channels at Leicester Fan TV. Visit our website, leicesterfantv.com.